Welcome back to This Week, where I sit down with leaders who are fighting to restore accountability, transparency, and sanity to California's government. My guest today is Herb Morgan, Republican candidate for California State Controller. A lifelong Californian and nationally respected investment executive, Herb is running to transform how our state handles its $300 billion budget. With over 38 years in finance, he founded EMA, a $1.5 billion ETF firm, and now serves as Chief Investment Officer at Cantor Fitzgerald. Herb's campaign is built on radical transparency. He's the first candidate in U.S. history to offer voters live, immutable, blockchain-based access to his campaign checking account. Because accountability should start at home. If elected controller, Herb plans to aggressively audit state spending in real time, put California's finances on the blockchain, and expose fraud, waste, and abuse at every level of government. This conversation dives into his plan to bring fiscal sanity back to Sacramento and why California's future may depend on it. Welcome, Herb.
Thank you. Good to be here. That's a great introduction. Would you like a job on the campaign? That's really good. You nailed it. Yeah,
I appreciate it. Yeah, I think I looked at your website. That's how I first learned about you. And that was one of the things that kind of caught my attention was the transparency aspect of it, because it's something that we desperately need in this state, especially with the amount of, a lot of people like to talk about the homelessness. The $25 billion spent on homelessness and how so much of that went to nonprofits. And there's the state just said one day, oh, yeah, we don't know where the money went. And everybody's kind of okay with it or seemingly okay with it. So that was one thing that caught my attention. What was your motivation?
So my motivation is, I'm getting sort of close to retirement. I'm kind of getting near the end. I've raised my family, 2 kids off married. I paid for college. Just about got the house paid for. And I said, I've got energy to do something. Do I want to do something more in business? Do I want to do nonprofit work? Do I want to do board work? And I've always had a passion for public policy, for solutions-based public policy. I really don't much have a passion for the sort of the petty hyperbole that we've devolved into. Yeah. And I think my side's as guilty as the other side, by the way. But I do have a passion for public policy, for solving problems and fixing things. And I was with a friend one day, and he said, I think you should run for governor of California. And we laughed, all right, give me another beer, we're kidding around. He goes, no, really, you could fix this state. You just have that way about you or that skill set. You're an honest guy. And I'm like, okay, stop.
Yeah, keep it coming.
He says, no, really. And I said, I don't think I have that. I don't think I have that network. I've been involved politically tangentially, meaning I get a call, hey, go to an event, write a check, help a guy or gal who's got a good idea. I'll always do that. But I had not ever run. And I said, I tell you what I'll do, because he kept insisting. And by the way, this guy is somebody I respect immensely. He's a retired Navy SEAL. So pretty much anything this guy wants, I give. Yeah. And where we all hang out at the golf club, he should never pay for a drink. That's just how we are, right? These are the guys we just respect him so much. And he says, what can you do? I said, well, there's 2 that I'm qualified for. I'm qualified uniquely for state treasurer. I've been managing money for 38 years. The state treasurer manages the money, but then I'd be doing what I've always done. I've also done deep analysis, financial analysis of entities in my role of managing money. And I really, truly believe California could use some of that skill set. It could benefit from that. So I said, the state controller looks unique. Let me dig into what the powers are of the state controller. So first of all, it's one of the 7 statewide elected executive positions. It is a very, very senior position. It is the controller sits on over 70 boards and commissions. So the Franchise Tax Board, CalPERS, CalSTRS, our 2 big pensions, land use, bond, debt, finance, you name it, the controller is there. I said, well, what authority does the controller have? And I looked at the current occupant of the office, and to me, she seemed to be treating the role very ceremonial, meaning she's on a board, she shows up, or she sends a surrogate. She shows up to an event, there's some flag waving, she smiles, and I thought, well, I don't want to do that. That has no interest to me. I want to fix things. So then I read what she could be doing. So first of all, the state controller has plenary authority over the method of accounting that every entity that touches state money uses. So every entity. Well, that's not just the state. The 58 counties get state money.
Mm-hmm.
The 482 cities get state money. The countless agencies, and then the subsidiaries of all of those, whether it's school districts, police departments, the pass-throughs to the NGOs, that we'll get to that.
Mm-hmm.
All of these people's accounting would really fall under the supervision of the state controller. And I thought, so this person actually has the power to fix a big part of what's wrong with our state. Doesn't matter if they're a Democrat or Republican, the power exists if you're willing to use it.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, what else can they do? Well, the state controller also has authority to dictate the frequency of reporting.
Mm.
And the state controller has unlimited audit authority over any entity that touches state money, unlimited. So that's not just a payroll audit. That could be a performance audit, a financial audit. There's all kinds of different types.
Uh-huh. This
person has the authority to dictate the frequency of accounting. And I'm like, the frequency of reporting, excuse me. As I thought about that, I go, well, how often do these entities report? So I talked to a friend. I said, you run an NGO, you get some money from the county. Yes, I do. What's the financial reporting? Well, honestly, I just get an email once a year. What do you mean? Well, it's an email with a PDF. It's an affidavit, and I sign off that I spent the money according to the law. That's it. Like, is it? You get money every year? Oh yeah, every year. Have you ever been like fully audited? And this person runs a good nonprofit, by the way, right? Not abusing the system, as far as I know.
Mm-hmm.
And so they said, no. They go, Herb, it's kind of a joke, right? So they don't have they claim we don't have the manpower, the people, but as state controller, this person could have tremendous impact on discovering inefficient use of our money.
Mm-hmm.
Notice I didn't say fund this policy or that policy or this thing or the other thing. I think we should all agree that if the city of Los Angeles, I'm going to use it because I'm here, if the city of Los Angeles allocates $3 billion to a nonprofit, and the objective of that nonprofit is to alleviate suffering in our streets, that we should all expect them to have a degree of success. And we should audit that and evaluate it. That's not what's getting done. That's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the money's kind of, as you described from the process, kind of just being given away, and it's kind of on the honor system pretty much, and there's no follow through of, give us some data. How many people have you housed? There's so many different projects that the mayor and the governor have in terms of housing too, that the money just gets thrown into construction projects, and all of a sudden they're spending $800,000 per unit, and there's no justification around it when other states spend like $40,000. So that would be an interesting level of transparency.
Yeah. So I'm glad you brought up the word. So my whole campaign is 2 words. I call it radical transparency. Give you another example. I think a lot of people know this, but a lot of people don't, because I use it in part of my speech when I go around town, around the state rather, is there's a controller for the city of Los Angeles. His name is Ken Magia.
Yeah.
And I follow him on the Insta. I think the guy's fantastic. I think he's in the other party. I don't care.
He's pretty leftist. Yeah, I'm familiar with him.
Pretty left.
But he does something. He actually tried to do an audit of the homelessness issue here, but the mayor blocked him.
That's where I'm going. Literally his job. The job he's paid to do, the job he's elected to do, is to be the chief financial officer of the city. And I guess you can be a leftist and still care about how your money is spent. I think that's good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're a leftist, fine. You care about how your money's spent. You were elected to do a job, and now you want to do the job you were elected to do. And the mayor of Los Angeles and her city attorney refused to let him do the audit.
Yeah.
He had to go to a federal judge. The judge had to order an independent audit. And of course, the independent audit turned up exactly what we all feared it would. The money's just not getting to the homeless. It's not. 38 years on Wall Street. We have this metric, right? It's how much of the money you invest as an investor, how much actually gets into the ground or into the deal or into the project, right? And if it's kind of 95 cents, 96 cents, 97 cents on a dollar, you're like, That's pretty good. You need to pay the people that put it together, the accountants, the lawyers, the promoters, the syndicators. Everybody needs to get their little piece. But in the end, you want to get an investment that gives you something back. I'm not saying we turn a profit on homeless funding, but so just let me get to the point, right? The point is, in that's in the private sector. In the nonprofit sector, when you evaluate if you're going to donate your money, your wealth to a charity that means a lot to you, one of the first things you do is you say, well, how efficient are they with the money? Is the CEO making $4 million a year and 40 cents goes to help my cause? I don't want to give them money. But if the CEO is doing this as a labor of love and they're very efficient and 85 cents on the dollar helps the cause, that's where I'm going to send it.
Yeah.
So my question is, in the state of California, we are all donating, right? Taxes, property, da-da-da-da. The money goes in, and then some of it, you got to start with, okay, the state infrastructure, the state overhead, they pull off the consultants, the legislature, the staffers, the deputy directors, the assistant secretaries of the under deputy director. And then you've got to do studies and weird studies that don't make any sense. And then I suspect, and I can't prove it because I don't have access to the books. That's the whole point. Nobody has access to the books. I would say about 25 cents on the dollar makes it through. And that's our problem.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. When you look at, there's one organization specifically, LASA, here in LA, that is so corrupt. I think the former head of it was actually caught giving 1.2 million to a nonprofit that was run by her husband, and the money effectively just goes into LASA and just disappears. And even the board of supervisors, because of the level of corruption, cut ties with LASA, and that's why I suspect that the mayor blocked the audit, because she didn't cut her ties with LASA. She's still rolling with them.
100%. It's got to be the case, right?
Yeah.
So I always approach everything and I go, what's the model? Right. So, everybody has a mind that works a different way. I have kind of a spreadsheet mind. Right. So I say, okay, what's the model? And as you look at it, you go, oh, and it's pretty clear. The model becomes very clear, right? You take in revenue. The people that are elected to jobs, the jobs don't pay well, right? So I don't know what the state controller pays actually, but I'm sure it doesn't pay very well.
Yeah.
Right. So fine, because I'm serving, right? That's the whole point, right? I'm older. I'm getting close to retirement. I'm supposed to go serve my community and give back to this great country and our great state. But so these things don't pay well. It doesn't pay well to be a state assembly member, as an example, or a state senator. Fine. So what they do is they get power, and then they influence where the money goes. And then, as you point out, it's the conflicts, and we're one of the few states in the union where these conflicts are legal, right?
Wow.
So like Governor Newsom, as an example, this is all public information, has it's called behested payments. Are you familiar with this term?
No, what's that?
So it's legal in California for a public official to advocate on behalf of a nonprofit for other people to make donations.
Wow, yeah.
So, for example, let's just say I'm the governor and you run a nice nonprofit and you're a buddy of mine. I tell this well-heeled donor over here who's got business in the governor's office, by the way, hey, I would like to introduce you to Dennis. He runs this beautiful charity. They take care of puppies. Why don't you give him $20 million? Okay. The money goes to the charity. Next thing you know, right? So there was somebody arrested or indicted last week in Los Angeles, a city councilman.
Yeah.
For basically doing that.
For that, yeah.
I actually downloaded the spreadsheet on behested payments. You can find it on the California State Street. And you go through it. I could sort by the politician who did it. Gavin Newsom's number, $375 million.
Wow.
He got Facebook to give $20 million to a nonprofit. So, all right, I'm sorry. I don't care how rich you are. You don't give $20 million to a nonprofit unless you expect something back in return.
Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg knew that if he made the governor of California happy, I think it was for his inaugural ball or something like that, right? So you have these special interests paying for all this stuff. That's legal in the state of California, which is a complete shock for most people to learn.
Yeah, and it's essentially a freeway into corruption, and that ties into something that I've been seeing go around. I saw this maybe a couple of days ago that that Newsom had pushed about $5 million into nonprofits that were associated with his wife.
Oh yeah.
And
but she's not a wife. They're not married or something.
they're like a partner.
They call it
partnership.
something other than that.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is, but yeah.
And it went, I think it went not just to her nonprofits, but he created specifically an office for her, which is the name that they have, like partner.
Oh,
and
like
whatever.
the First Lady's office.
Yeah.
And it actually gets funding. Yeah. And then there's all of California has simply become a giant money laundering operation. Let me put it in perspective. Right before COVID, so the 2019-2020 fiscal year, because we have a June 30, July 1 fiscal year. We had an annual budget in the state of $189 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how much it is now? I think you said it earlier.
It was $300 billion.
It's 325, and that doesn't include all the different fees and other things that come in. That's just the budget.
Mm-hmm.
So you go from 189 billion to 325 in 5 years.
And that's all from raising taxes?
That's the budget. They're spending. Part of that is from increased tax revenue because the economy's been very strong, right? More income taxes, more capital gains taxes as assets go up and people sell them.
Mm-hmm.
All of that, higher fees, different things. But also rating reserve. We can do 20 minutes on rating the reserves, right? Which is unconscionable. So we go from this to 325 billion. As I go around and talk to people about it, most people, hey, you're busy, right? You're getting your kids to school, you're doing your job, you're doing what you got to do. You're not paying attention to the state budget.
Mm-hmm.
How much is $325 billion?
It's bigger than most countries.
Yeah. So I'm going to put it in perspective. In the state of California, we have 13,000 miles of state highway, right? Not I-5, not 405, but the state highways, like 67 and so forth. Okay. If 10% of those highway, that mileage has a steel guardrail, the corrugated steel, right?
Yeah.
That's 1,300 miles of steel guardrail. Both sides, right? 2,600 miles of steel guardrail. It's this high. What if we decided to put gold plating, like literally make our guardrails gold? We're the Golden State.
Yeah.
We could advertise the tourism industry. Come see Disneyland, the Redwood Forest, and gold-plated
highways.
Guardrails. Gold.
Yeah.
How much would that cost?
300-something billion.
Not even close. Price of gold is about $3,200 an ounce. If you plated them at 0.25 microns, it costs you about $13 billion. That is a pittance of our state budget. So now people go, wow, $325 billion. That is an insanely large amount of money. Herb, if you just said, Herb, start over, you're in charge of the state. I don't know what my title would be. Potentate. I would always like to be a potentate. I think that's a cool title.
What is that?
I don't know, but it's like a leader, I don't know. Not even exactly sure. But so I'm the king of California, and I've got $325 billion.
Yeah.
What could you do with it? Well, first of all, we would have the premier university system, the premier community college system, the premier healthcare system, the premier road and transportation system, the premier care for the homeless, the drug addicted, the mentally incapacitated. We would have literally everything. And by the way, the safest, cleanest neighborhoods with police, with the most modern equipment and the best firefighting equipment. And we'd have too much firefighting equipment. And I could do that for about $200 billion.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the problem. The problem is 25 cents on the dollar actually goes where it's supposed to go. I have a daughter-in-law who's a public school teacher. I hope I'm not getting her in trouble with her unions or anything, but she routinely purchases supplies and things for her classroom. Like, what? Gavin is spending $250 million on a phony, fraudulent special election to amend the Constitution, and the public school, by the way, with that same $200 billion, I think we could double school teacher pay. It'd be no problem. And you'd have amazingly talented, these people, most of them have 2 or 3 master's degrees. I don't even have one, right? And I got 38 years on Wall Street. They give of themselves to serve their communities, to teach kids math and science and reading and art and sports, and they don't get paid very well. And the reason they don't get paid very well is not because we don't have high taxes. We have the highest in the country.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
It's just mismanaged. All of it.
It is. If this were a stock, if California were a stock, it would be taken over, LBO'd, private equity'd instantly. Because, why? Because the assets are there. It's just horribly run at every level. What are the assets? Well, gosh, natural resources. We have proven oil reserves more than the Middle East.
Yeah.
Right? We've got beautiful oceans with fisheries. We've got an infrastructure system, both for the federal highways, the state highways, universities, educated population, rule of law that works, so contracts are enforced. This is what you need for a thriving society.
Yeah.
So we would be taken over. We're great. I'm not leaving. I'm stepping up now, right? I'm getting excited.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is, even with all that wealth, all these resources, this huge budget, all this money coming in from, the tax revenue, we're still running a $12 billion deficit.
It's far bigger than that.
It is? So they're lying to us?
Oh, absolutely. They're lying to you. So in life, in your house and in my house and in my company and your company, a balanced budget is when you have revenues here and expenses are here or lower. Revenues here, expenses here or lower. That is balance. In no textbook on accounting ever in the history of accounting has expenses above revenue been considered a balanced budget. So in California, we voted rightfully, smartly, to establish emergency reserve funds. What that means is, as the year progresses, if the economy slows and tax revenues fall short of your expectation of your budgeted amount, you then access the reserve fund to balance your budget. Well, there was a lady who was our attorney general named Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
And Kamala Harris, along with the senator whose name I can't place at the moment, decided about 18 years ago, that we're going to redefine the word balanced budget. Forget about what the accounting textbooks say.
Yeah.
We're going to just redefine it to suit our needs. And I'm going to tell you why it was Kamala in a minute, because the legislature said, you're out of your mind, people. You can't call a balanced budget if you're rating the reserve fund as part of the budgeting process. Kamala went to a favorite court, a favorite judge, and got a ruling that said, yes, if revenues are here and expenses are here, you can call it balanced if you raise your reserves. So now our reserves have been rated down and down and down, and we're just about out of reserves. So no, we don't have a balanced budget. And by the way, we're supposed to. Federal law requires it, as well as state law. The state constitution requires a balanced budget. So yeah, it's going great.
Yeah. So what happens if we're out of the reserves?
Well, if you're out of reserves and
we go into the red,
and you have to, then you'll be forced to cut spending. And then of course they will blame, as they've already kind of set themselves up for. Whose fault is it?
They're going to blame Trump.
It's got to be Trump.
Yeah, they're going to blame the federal
it's Trump's
government.
fault. My father-in-law, bless his soul, used to always say, "Well, it's Reagan's fault." That was his joke, and because he was making fun of the political situation 40 years ago, and now it's literally the same. This is now Trump's fault. The reality is the booming economy that's enabling this horrific behavior, financial behavior, disastrous behavior, is largely a result of the Tax Cut and Jobs Act of 2017, which was legislation. Of course, legislation comes from the Congress that was signed by President Trump, which I find sort of ironic.
Yeah.
They're benefiting the increased revenue from the increased GDP. They're benefiting from that tremendously. Personally, I might add.
Yeah. A lot of these guys are getting richer. You see it with Newsom. He's got like $3 $9 million mansions on a $200,000 a year salary.
Yeah, well, look, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
What do you mean? I think getting rich is a noble endeavor. I'm a capitalist, right?
Yeah.
And if he was successful, or he inherited that money, or his wife or whatever she is to him had that money, then that's okay. This is America. It's okay to be rich, and I think it's a noble pursuit because to get rich, you have to serve somebody.
Yeah.
You have to deliver a product or a service, unless you're getting rich in a criminal scheme,
Yeah.
which is what the politicians are doing.
Yeah.
So the question is not that I don't care that he's rich.
Yeah.
I think that's great. And
It's how he made his
He had
money.
a wine that was pretty good, I guess.
Well,
I won't drink it anymore, but it was pretty good. It was,
Yeah, he's got a winery
Plum
or
Jack was
something.
pretty
Yeah.
good.
Is it good? I haven't tried it.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
So the accusations are that he's using the power of his office to partially direct money to nonprofits to which he might be connected in some way, which brings me to my campaign strategy and what my plan is for the controller's office. If you want to start going there, it's up to you.
Yeah, let's go there.
Yeah. So two things. I'm going to dictate the accounting methodology. Boring, yawn. Nobody knows about different accounting methodologies. But I'm going to dictate the reporting frequency. How often should entities that receive our money report back to us what they did with that money? What do you think?
I think like monthly, to be honest with
Monthly
you.
would be pretty good.
Yeah.
Some groups do monthly. Some are quarterly, semi-annual, annual attestations. I'm going to go with daily. So I would have the authority. If you put me in this office, the people of California put me in this office, I will require daily reporting. So what happens when you tell a government enterprise you need to do something more? What do you get?
Well, first off, you get a ton of pushback.
Yeah.
Like everybody's going to panic and be like, oh, I can't do this. And then they try to hide it. And then,
I need more staff.
Yeah.
I need more overtime, more pensionable income.
Yeah.
We should probably do a gender study on this to make sure it's equal this and all of that. And I'm like, great, problem solved. You don't need anything else. We're all familiar with technology. If you can install Uber Eats on your phone, which I love Uber Eats, by the way, it's just like one of those great, life game-changing. It's a little more expensive, though. It's so expensive.
Anyway, we got the robots.
It's going to help. So if you have the skill to install that, so every entity that gets money has to have what? A bank account.
Yeah.
So if you have a bank account, you can log into your bank account every day and you can see all the transactions. So if you are the high-speed rail authority, or if you are a nonprofit, or if you're Churla, right, and you're getting this money, all you have to do, I'm going to deliver to you an app. Now, this is a string. If you're getting state money, you must agree to use the app. One time you install the app, it then reads on a daily basis your bank transactions. So if you spent $40,000 on something, it shows it. If you had money coming in, it shows it. Who got the money, what the check number was, whatever.
I love that. Sorry to interrupt, but it reminds me of there are these apps that you can install now that tie your account to your business account to like Stripe or whatever, and you can do transactions and it's
easy.
It's a level of transparency. If you want to do business with the state, you will have to do it transparently. You don't get to just
that's right.
Take the money and run.
And the state controller has the authority to make this happen. And even if the legislature says, no, give those guys $30 billion. I can say, okay, as soon as they install my app. And so the app, which I have had coded, is already installed on my campaign checking account. If you go to my website, herbmorgan.com, you click on the tab that says, see my bank account or something like that.
Yeah.
And you can see, if I'm going to stay in a hotel around the corner here tonight. So you'll see how much I paid for that hotel and what it costs and everything else and my breakfast or whatever. So I will require that to be installed. And if you don't install it and we don't read your transactions, you don't get money. Number two, that generates massive amounts of data. How can my staff at the state controller's office possibly handle analyzing all that data to find the bad actors and make sure the money gets to the good people? We have this new employee called AI.
Yeah.
So AI, artificial intelligence, has the ability to consume massive data. You and I could go around the corner, hit the pub, have 2 martinis, and we can have our AI accomplish more in that period of time in trying to identify patterns that are fishy. So not just dollar volume of spend, but then we look at the recipients of the spend and we can use AI to draw a web to their connections. Oh, you were in the same fraternity at Chico State as Gavin Newsom. I'm making this up. He probably didn't go to state school like the rest of us, right? He probably went to fancy school.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, you were there at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, your wife was in the sorority with the LinkedIn connections, the Facebook connections, the Twitter connections. This is going to be so fun and so easy. I think in just a very short order, we realized that we could run a far better state, deliver far better services, solve far more problems with far less money.
Yeah.
It just takes the will to cut out the grift. Gavin's grifters, whatever you want to call them. I think they are scared because and then we're going to store all the data on the blockchain. Blockchain technology is immutable, can't be hacked. And so read it, analyze it, store it, and make it available for anybody with a cell phone to look at and identify.
Well, they're going to hate you in Sacramento because they need that.
They do.
Yeah.
I tell you who doesn't hate me?
Yeah.
The very, very small minority of Republicans.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I went up there. I called up the Senate Minority Leader, Brian Jones. Fabulous senator, really gets it, super hardworking, honest guy. And I called him up, and he took my call. Yeah. And I said, is there a way I can get in front of like all the senators at once to try to get the endorsements?
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, well, that's kind of unusual. We have a lunch. You could come to it. And I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be at this fancy wood paneled thing with the martinis and the Chateaubriands or whatever.
Yeah.
And I walk in, and there's like Senator Tony Strickland. I'm like, oh my God, Senator Tony Strickland. He's got a brown paper bag, and he opens it up, and he's eating a bologna sandwich. I'm not kidding. He's eating a sandwich, right?
Yeah.
Senator Rosalisi Ochoa is sitting right there. And I'm like, wow, these are the leaders of our state. They are not abusing anything. And I gave them my speech about what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I said, I'd like to get your endorsements. Now, there's 10 Republicans in the Senate. 8 were at the lunch. 6 signed within 15 minutes of me giving this speech that I just gave you.
Yeah.
They all signed. The other 2 said, we're 100% on board, but we just have this policy. We wait until the filing deadline. I said, no problem.
Yeah.
So I imagine we'll get the rest. But, and then there's other in the assembly. There's some great Republicans in the assembly that are really working hard for this. The problem we have in California, power corrupts.
Yeah.
Absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. I would like people to vote for me who are socialists, libertarians, Democrats, communists. I don't care. Nobody in any of those parties, if you're an ideologue, it means you have passion and you care. I want you to get on board here and say enough is enough of this one party thing. We can get into the redistricting of what they're doing, the unconscionable nature of that. But in the end, I truly like, okay, should we or should we not have health care for undocumented immigrants? That's a debate. The fact is we don't have the money for it.
Yeah.
If I'm elected, I'll show you the money. It's there. And then the two sides can debate whether or not it should be something we do.
Well, I think it's a pretty bipartisan. It's like a universal issue right now, just the way the spending has been going in the state. That's why you see Kevin Mejia here in LA.
Yeah.
He's pretty far left and he's on the same boat. I think it's everybody has a concern because they see the amount of money going into these, solutions and nothing coming out. So I think it transcends. This is one of your office specifically. I think it transcends.
It's the most
politics.
Powerful of the 7 statewide executive positions. It's especially given where we are in history of our state.
Yeah,
it's more powerful than the governor's office. Literally, that's why I didn't run for governor. I was like, this is where the power is.
Yeah,
because if I'm a Republican or a Libertarian, whatever the heck I am, I don't even know what I am anymore. If I run and I get elected as governor, and the legislature stays the way it is.
Yeah. Well, you'll be in the same situation as Arnold was, where he had a supermajority and he had to kind of acquiesce to a lot of what they were doing.
But the controller doesn't have to do that. That's what
interesting.
Wow. Now, some of the powers are enshrined in the Constitution. That's harder to mess with. A lot of the other powers are legislated powers. So what are they going to do after I get elected?
They're going to try
to take away the power of the office. So we have to act quickly, forcefully. The public has to be on it. Like the public has to be watching your show and know like what I'm saying. not a famous guy. You know, who the hell knows who I am? I'm just a Herbie from San Diego, right?
Yeah.
Go Padres.
So, this is, I mean, I love the whole thing because I think it's, like I said, it's bipartisan. I'm wondering if you do run into this resistance, because we are living in a culture of like constant lawfare, of constant bickering and divisiveness, and the Democrats currently do have a supermajority in the state and the legislature. Let's say you get in there day one and they're already like pushing back, filing injunctions to stop you from exposing their grift. How do you respond? How do you push forward?
Well, you know, it's hard to go against judges, right? But it's also hard for judges and legislatures to go against the people. So this has got to be, this whole idea of exposing the grift or just ending it. Let's just end it and let's just move forward, right?
Yeah.
It has to be, the people just have to be on it. Like they have to care.
Yeah.
Like anybody, I don't care who you are, what you do, what language you speak. None of that matters to me. Green knows no differentiators, right? You know, green is green, money is money, and our money, I am beyond convinced, is being stolen, wasted. I mean, if you're unhappy with the quality of the roads, you're unhappy with the traffic congestion, unhappy with some of the stuff that's coming out of your schools, or it's not, you know, all of those things, I just can't overemphasize enough. We have far more than enough money to deliver gold-plated guardrails and gold-plated everything else. We have the money. The problem is they're taking it. They're taking it for personal gain. And I'm just tired of it. So back to why the guy, my friend, the Navy SEAL, said, you have to do this. And I said, I don't want to do this. I'm getting old. I want to play golf. I just want to go on vacation, and I'm going to have grandkids soon. He goes, and he looked at me, he goes, I served, it's your turn. And I'm like, oh, because his level of service mine is nothing compared to his, right? I mean,
he's a Navy SEAL.
He's a SEAL. And I can't say no to him. He beat me up.
Yeah. So I want to pivot to something we were actually talking beforehand about on the federal side.
Yeah.
The Fed refusing to cut rates. This is like a big thing. Trump is going up against the Fed, and I mean, how do you see it? We see it practically in California. The housing market kind of just stalled. The prices went down a bit, but nobody's buying because the interest rates are so high. You know, would that affect your job? And how do you see it, you know, affecting the country, this current policy?
Yeah. So I'm a little bit, I have a little different view on that because I have, as a common economist, right? And I've studied this stuff for decades and decades and decades. The Federal Reserve has one job. Always in 1913, the Federal Reserve Act established the Federal Reserve, Jekyll Island conspiracy, yada, yada, not conspiracy. It's a bank for all the other banks. It's owned by Bank of America, right? So the Federal Reserve Act says you are the lender of last resort. So Jimmy Stewart's A Wonderful Life. Everybody goes to the bank, says, give me my money. He goes, I can't give you the money. I loaned it to you for his mortgage. So I have mortgages. So having a central bank, because we have fractional reserve banking, allows the Federal Reserve, the bank, to take their loans, their mortgages, go to the Fed, borrow money against it to meet redemption. So we generally don't have runs on banks anymore, with the exception of 2008. Then after we went off the gold standard because of the Vietnam War, we needed more money than we had gold to back it up to fund the Vietnam War. We then had a spike of inflation. So Congress, doing what it always does, punts to somebody else instead of solving problems. Congress said, Fed, you now have two more jobs. Number one, price stability, meaning stop the inflation. And number two, full employment. They didn't say which one was senior and which one wasn't senior. Okay. Move forward to today. We had many, many years of under there was no target. They just said price stability. Ben Bernanke, parting gift. I'm giving you economic history in 2 minutes. Ben Bernanke, parting gift, said, let's establish a 2% target and call that price stability. I think it should be zero personally. Zero would be great if our money always kept its value. How awesome would that be?
It'd be terrific.
You could store it in your coffee can and it would still be worth the same amount. Well, that's not the case. They target 2. We were below 2 for a period of time. We are now well above 2. So the Fed has tools with which to fight that, but there's also forces that are out of the Fed's control. So the tools the Fed has to fight that, the primary tool is setting the federal funds rate. They have that FOMC meeting. Next one, September 18th. And if they raise the rate, that is expected to, over time, lower inflation. If they lower the rate, that is expected to stoke growth in the economy and prevent deflation.
Gotcha.
However, there is a force well beyond the efficacy of the Fed's rate tool, and that is the deficit-financed fiscal spending of the United States Congress. So when the administration or the Congress or whoever of either party chirps at the Fed, if Jerome Powell would get a little bit of a backbone and say, hey, guys, maybe if you weren't running a 7% annual fiscal deficit, which is historically reserved for like World War II only, or a deep, deep depression, why don't you guys stop overspending? And all of a sudden, inflation and interest rates will come down naturally. But he doesn't do that. Instead, he just uses his one little tool, which is the Fed funds rate and the discount rate. So the administration does not have a mandate to control inflation. The Fed does, legally. So the administration goes, we run the Treasury. We're paying an awful lot of interest on our debt because we keep adding to that debt every year. We want that interest rate to go down. Of course you do. But the Fed's job is not to help the federal government with its debt. The Fed's job is to get inflation down to 2% or 0%. So they keep that rate up. I think, I differ from my party, a lot of people in the party on this, I think Jerome Powell is doing the right thing. So the second mandate of the Federal Reserve is employment. We have 4.2% unemployment in this country. Now, California's worse. Way worse. But the country's at 4.2. As an economist, most economists would tell you that is full employment. So cutting rates would grow employment, but we are at full employment. So cutting rates could theoretically just spark more inflation. So I'm actually with Powell on this. And then we can get into why the lady got fired. She committed fraud. That's a different story. But they're going to start cutting anyway. Powell's actually kind of a dove. I think he's on September 17th. I think he's going to cut a quarter point. Now, why is it so costly to live in California in general, and Los Angeles in particular, and San Diego, and Orange County, and Riverside, San Bernardino, Santa Cruz? Because it's not just because of the interest rate. The reality is, when I bought my first house, I paid almost 8% mortgage. Today, you can get far less. But the house itself was affordable. So it's a trade-off. People buy on a payment. So if I have a high interest rate, but the house is cheap, it's okay. Or expensive house and a low interest rate. We need to get, as Californians, at the root cause of why in the heck is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath place built in the 30s cost $1.5 million.
The price.
Forget about the interest rate.
Well,
why? Well, because we have so many rules and regulations associated with building. We have CEQA, California Environmental Quality Act. I'm an environmentalist, and I hate CEQA. Right? It's so wrong because it just is so unfair to anybody who tries to build. The park fees, the permit fees, the impact fees, the school fees, and they just go up and up and up and up. You can't even break ground on a new house without paying close to $200,000 in fees. That's before the land, before the hookups to the utilities, before the water, before the sewer. And you sit there and go, well, no wonder. That's the problem with housing. It's not having a 4.5% Fed funds rate versus a 4% Fed funds rate. The biggest inflation redistributes wealth from borrowers, or from lenders to borrowers. Okay, who's the biggest borrower in the world?
China,
the United States Treasury.
Nobody's
more in debt than the United States Treasury. Right. So, of course, the president, as the CEO of the United States, is arguing to get his borrowing costs lower, just like he did when he owned casinos.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So there's like no fix. We have to wait for Sacramento to cut those, all that. They're never going to cut regulations because it's part of their grift.
It is a big part of the grift. There is a fix. There is a fix. You just vote for the other party, right? It's literally that easy. Like 6 million people voted for Donald Trump in the presidential. If all 6 million of those come out and vote for Herb Morgan and the rest of the Republican ticket, it's a complete red takeover of the state. How about LA County? 37. I did the math. 37%. If 37% of Los Angeles County vote for Herb Morgan, we win.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you have to go get registered and go out and vote.
Yeah, so what we need infrastructure. Our party,
Yeah.
and they're working. Corinne Rankin's a great leader. She's visionary. She's awesome. She's tireless. She's trying to get people to register and vote Republican in LA County.
I have been seeing the numbers go up of Republican registrations throughout the country, but in the state too. I've been a part of a few different voter registration drives, and you see a lot of Democrats are very upset. They may not be registering Republican, but they're going sometimes no party preference, and they relate on the issues. They may just be a little scared because of the stigma around being a Republican. But
we got to talk about that stigma. You know, it's true. No NPP or no party preference is huge. Okay, what the heck am I? I always thought of myself as a liberal. Like, what do you mean? Well, now that
means classical liberal.
A classical liberal, like Thomas Jefferson, like Adam Smith, like Thomas Paine, Hayek, von Mises. Like Californians, if you go to your friend, you go to a cocktail party with your friends, and you're talking to somebody and you're just getting to know them, whatever. Like, well, where are you politically? I submit, if you ask 10 people, 9 out of 10 will say the following: socially liberal, fiscally conservative. It might even be 10 out of 10, right? Like you go to your friends, like your friends that are on the other side of the political aisle from you, and you just say, well, where do you stand? Socially liberal, fiscally conservative. Well, guess what? That's the Republican Party. Yeah. And what's happened is the other side has painted this picture of us, this demonic, Satan-worshiping, misogynistic, racist
Nazis.
Somebody should tell Corinne Rankin that she's the head of the misogynistic racists, right? I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me, but people believe it. Like I have a friend and neighbor down there, and they were very upset when President Trump was reelected. I said, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And he said, "Well, you know, our son's gay." I said, "Well, so what? What does that mean? I've known him since he was 5 years old. I love the kid. He's wonderful." Well, they're going to annul his marriage and they're going to tear apart his family. I'm like, really? What? Who told you that? That is not who the Republican Party is. We're the party of opportunity, of equality, of being colorblind, and of fiscal sanity, and of actually not stealing. We're the party of not stealing.
Yeah, we're the party. I mean, people often forget that the Republican Party was started as a response to Democrats trying to expand slavery.
100%.
That the second president, the second presidential candidate was Abraham Lincoln. The first elected president is the guy who abolished slavery and died in office. Did one of the most honorable things, you know, ended up being killed in office. So yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said. I'm very Republican, and it's just good to see more Republicans getting involved and going out there and throwing their hat in the ring, because I think that's ultimately how we're going to turn the state red. This state was red for a long time.
I grew up here.
Yeah.
We had the number one. I grew up in Westminster, you know, down in Orange County. Yeah. And then Oceanside in San Diego. When I was a kid, California public schools were ranked number 1 out of 50 states, where I think we're 47th or 48th right now.
We're pretty low. We spend the most.
And we definitely spend the most. We're 47th or 48th. Like, shouldn't we be upset by that? Yeah. And I think there's been so much wealth created in our state, in our society, in our country, because of this beautiful thing we call capitalism, that just has lifted up more people out of poverty than any church ever can. Yeah. Right? We just lift people up out of poverty. Capitalism has done that, and it's meritocracy and all this great stuff about it, and we should celebrate that. But this state, I think people have just said, well, you know, let them steal. Just let them do it, because I got this business to run, and I'm going to do an IPO, and I'm going to make $600 million on this deal. And I think though that they took it too far, right? You know, it's like, you know, when you get a little bit cheated, you're at something, you're at the ballpark, and the guy does the thing with your change. You're like, I got $2. Let him have his $2, right? The California Democratic Party is so corrupt. They're so inept. They steal so much money that I think for the first time in about 25 years, regular guy campaign, herbmorgan.com, I think we're just standing and going, you know what? I'm going to run for something. I'm going to show you what actual skill and talent can do in this state. And you guys are not going to like it.
Yeah, because we just have a bunch of activists right now. And that's what the Democrats have been. their entire party has been taken over by activists. It seems like there's nobody who's actually competent, has real world experience.
I would wholeheartedly agree with that. They are, if you just like, let's just say you're the typical Democrat, like I love my Aunt Lynn and my Aunt Barbara and my Aunt Helen. They're so sweet and they're lovely and they're great. And they are Democrats. Great. But they're not like those people.
Yeah.
And I don't know how we got the colorfully, interestingly wackadoodles in office, but they are there.
I remember.
How did we elect Karen Bass, mayor of Los Angeles? She's a communist.
She's straight up communist. She went to train with Fidel. It's so crazy. I mean, I tell that to as many people as I can because
communism has killed more people than anything. We should all have masks that say Karen on them because we wore the masks so we would live through COVID. We got to live through Karen's communism. I mean, I'm being sarcastic.
No, I get it.
It's just,
but you're right. It's something that absolutely flew under the radar. And I think I've been told that Rick Caruso had that information about her, chose to not go after her because he was concerned that if he didn't win for whatever reason, that he would get retaliation.
Oh yeah, and he's got to build in this city. Yeah,
exactly.
He's got to build.
So, it's we need Republicans who are all in, right? I understand where he's coming from, but you can't run. And the mayoral race is nonpartisan. He was kind of running on a Republican platform. So I understand him wanting to protect his assets, but we're in a position that it's I would go as far to say it's existential. It's
existential for California. 100%.
The future of the state will be defined in the next 4 years for like the next, I would say, like half century. Because it could be the kind of hole where, the reserves could completely end, like we were just talking about earlier.
Well, the reserves end, and they're constantly being replenished too through incoming revenue. But the spend, the debt, the corruption, the flight,
loss of people leaving,
the flight of revenue generating people, right? I mean, how sad is it? And this is the new model, right? If you lived here and you raised your family, which my parents did, you raised your family here for 35 or 40 years. And now because housing was so expensive, the only major asset you have is your house. You have to sell your house in California, pay massive capital gains tax federally and state beyond the 500,000 gain. And then you flee to a lower cost, better quality of life state, spend half the money on a nicer home and keep the other half and live off it, supplement your Social Security. That's literally the retirement plan for Americans. They should not have to leave in order to live, but they do. Then you've got my generation. I'm 59 years old. We're in the middle. We're kind of like, we're not ready to retire. We're not ready to leave. And we're trying to figure it all out. Then you got my kids' generation, right? They went to college. They had all the right stuff. My daughter came to me. She said, Dad, I'm leaving. What do you mean? She was like, I can't do it. She goes, you got a great job. You got college education. You got everything lined up. She says, no. She goes, look, this is what I pay for gas and electric. This is what it is in Charlotte, North Carolina.
It's crazy.
This is my auto insurance. This is what, and she had a spreadsheet. This kid's smart, right? Business degree. And I'm like, I could see your point. And so she left. My niece, college educated, great, everything. She left. My nephew, college educated, went to St. Mary's in Morocco. He left. And so now we have our youngest, best, and brightest. So our old folks are leaving, who are great consumers, by the way. They're gone, the retired folks. And now the new crop of educated, talented, producing people who would be starting companies and hiring people and succeeding, they're leaving. So what the heck do we do? Let's redistrict. I mean, it's ridiculous.
That's such a good point. And the redistricting is happening not just because of the flight, but also if you look at the map from 2024, how much Trump gained in so many different counties, they're clearly terrified that that's going to continue to wash further west because that's ultimately, the state. I even saw this today. Republicans at the state assembly were suggesting splitting California into east and west. And because the West is so dominated by the Democrats, and the East is primarily Republicans. It's more rural.
It is.
So, I mean, that would be an interesting solution. But yeah, well, Herb, thank you so much for coming by. I want you to take a moment right now, folks. you should go. First off, donate to Herb. Go check out all of his social media. If you could just look into your camera right there and tell them how they can find your website, all of your social media platforms, how they can get in touch with you, volunteer, and anything else that you want to tell them.
Thanks. I get so excited. I forget to say those important things. So herbmorgan.com/donate. Any amount, $9,800 is the max per person, but any amount helps. You could do monthly. You could set up monthly donations. All the social media is Herb4, the number 4, Herb4 Controller. Please follow, like, thumbs up, retweet, retube, whatever it is. Please do it. And you can also volunteer on the site as well. And just thanks for letting me be with you today. I enjoyed it.
Well, thank you, Herb, and thank you for running. I think we need more candidates like yourself. People who have experience in the private sector, have built careers, admirable careers, and are very accomplished, and now are trying to, solve the problems that we have in government. Because ultimately, this is how I see it. You can make a ton of money. You can gather all this expertise. And then at the end, if you don't leave something behind, like an infrastructure to help people that are coming after you, then it's almost like it's a little selfish. So I really do appreciate you taking that jump and going in there. We need more Republicans like you. We need more Republicans in general, but we need more Republicans like yourself. So thank you for that. And thank you, Evelyn Jones, for setting this up.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Herb. Appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.